If it's for me, it's for me. And someone telling me that I'm not for them doesn't mean that it's not for me. What is up, you guys? It's me, Gaylyn Lareese, and welcome back to another Girl Talk. Fun fact, the day that I am filming this video is actually my birthday. And you guys know that on birthdays, you get a little reflective. You start thinking about things. And I've been thinking a lot about rejection lately and the rejections that I've had and what I've learned from it. And ultimately, what I've learned is that rejection is for me. All those moments of rejection were for me. They were for my good. And I want to share with you how I kind of came to that conclusion and what rejection has truly taught me. So if you're ready for that conversation, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so I know that you enjoy these girl talks, and let's jump in. So I know a lot of you guys are either creatives or dancers, and if you are, then you know your biggest asset or your biggest opponent can be what's going on up in here, which is why I did my video, my last girl talk on peace, because man, like maintaining my peace and fighting for my peace has been such a game changer. So if you haven't listened to that video, I highly suggest you do. But one thing that can really disrupt your peace is a rejection. And as a creative, they come in plentiful quantity. I have been rejected so many times just this year, just this year alone. And it's something that, you know, as a dancer, I've definitely built up some callus to. I've already put my moisturizer and stuff on, but something that I really learned and really embraced this year when it comes to rejection is that my destiny is not tied to any specific person, entity, company, none of that. If there's something that I'm pursuing that I know in my heart is for me, I feel that it's for me, a rejection isn't going to stop me from getting that, you know? And realizing that has been, oh my God, I'm so sweaty. Hold on one second.
It's starting, bitch. Starting.
Sorry, I was like, wait a minute. I'm glistening a bit too much. Anyway, those rejections that I have gotten have not stopped me from being on the path that I'm on. And when I realized that truly, if I feel like God is telling me it's for me, a rejection is irrelevant. All a rejection does is redirect me to where I should be going next. And that's kind of been how I have been choosing to look at rejection, is like, okay, so this happened. Where do we go now? Who do we hit up now? What's our approach now? All rejection is an indication that it's time to update the plan a little bit, you know? Because no person has that much control over my life and over my destiny. If it's for me, it's for me. And someone telling me that I'm not for them doesn't mean that it's not for me, you know? And that has really helped me not go into panic mode when the rejections come, you know? And the more that you're working on stuff, the more that you're trying to elevate and level up and all of those things, the more rejections you're gonna get, you know? For every quote unquote success that I've had, there's been at least 12 rejections behind that, you know? So they're going to keep coming and they're going to keep testing you. But I've realized that I've gotten better at dealing with them when I use them as a reminder of who I am, you know? The second thing I've realized about rejection is that sometimes rejection for me, especially recently, has been an indication that I did not listen to my intuition. Because there have been times, oh my gosh, especially this year, where I've encountered a rejection of some kind. And these things don't always have to do with dance. I know a lot of times when people are talking about rejection, they talk about like relationships and stuff like that. But it can apply to relationships, career. And for me, dance and career obviously is very tied together. But it's always been proof that I should have listened to my intuition in the first place. When I had a feeling like, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but I don't know. Let me be open. Maybe I'm just, like I start talking myself into doing things that deep down inside, something's telling me, don't do that. But because we're human, because, sometimes I think for anyone that does have a spiritual life, there are those moments where we not necessarily question that something bigger exists, but we definitely question, like, am I hearing this right though? Like, did I really hear this correctly? And then rejection lets you know, yeah, you did. You did. You should have steered clear from it in the first place. And so it's really strengthened my intuition. It's like rejections give me instances where my intuition is proved right. And now I have these examples, which give me more confidence the next time I feel my intuition telling me something. Because especially as a creative person, your intuition you gotta be really tuned into that. You have to. Because as a creative person, you are creating your own pathway from the jump, especially if you're like me and you don't really have any kind of guidance. A lot of the stuff I'm doing is really just trial and error, test and see how it goes, because I don't have someone showing me how to do certain things. I'm just kind of going for it and doing it, And although those times can be exciting and they have led to really great things, it can also make those moments of rejection make you kind of question, like, well, am I doing the right thing? And did I go about that the right way? And so the reason why I have needed some of the rejections I've gotten recently is simply because now my intuition is so much stronger. I'm so much more tuned into it. And when you are tuned into that for real, there's very little people can say to make you question yourself, question your talent, question your skills, question your relationships. When you're tuned into that in itself is a gift. And so that's why rejection has been so needed for me recently. Let's tame these brows a bit. They're awful. I don't feel like doing them though. If I'm being honest, not today. I was this close to not even doing anything for my birthday just because I'm a little tired. By now, when this video goes up, my body do choreography will have been up. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and check that out. But with that video, I taught it to them and we filmed it all in 3 hours. And these studio sessions just allow me to like put choreography on groups of girls, see who dance well together, try stuff. But it was a little harder on my body than I expected, So I'm recuperating. I'm about to go home for a little bit and I wanna get in the gym before I go home because I know I won't be able to go when I'm there, but might have to wait on that. The next reason why really you need rejection is because it teaches you how to cope with the unfairness of life. If there is something that I have just constantly been reminded as I get older, it's that life truly is not fair. And especially recently, I've realized like there's always gonna be something. Like it's really always something. If it's not one thing, it's something else. And when something is going well, something else might be going, left. And the more that you learn how to cope with those negative moments, the less they shake you, And so rejection has been moments where I have really trained myself to have a coping routine, if you will. For me right now, my emotional, what would I call it? Like my emotional support television show, I would say, is Bob's Burgers. It's light, it's funny. I know every single episode. If you watch Bob's Burgers, let me know down in the comments. My friends are always making fun of me because they're like, you're always watching it. But the gag is I'm not always watching it. Sometimes it's just on in the background and it helps me like calm down. And it sounds so dumb, but like little stuff like that really helps me get through those big moments because it changes your state of mind, you know? If you go to a negative place after a rejection, it can very quickly lead to a downward spiral, you know? And I have had to, I don't want to blend that out yet. I've had to practice the discipline of refocusing my energy on positive things to make me more durable, give me more shield against honestly everything, the world and the way that it is, you know? I was watching a podcast recently. It wasn't recently, it was actually a couple months ago. If I can find it, I will link it down below. But this guy who writes for Sports Illustrated, he also connects it to psychology and the brain and studies athletes and athletic success and stuff like that. It was a really cool interview. And he recently wrote a book. So like I said, I'll try and link all that stuff. But he was talking about how it is scientifically proven that if you are in a positive state, if you tell yourself positive things, your brain literally functions better. Simply being crazy hard on yourself, it's not the best way to get best work out of you. The best way to get the best work out of you is to think positively about yourself and to tell yourself positive things. And I don't know, I mean, part of me is like, duh, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, from now on, we're shutting down any negative self-talk. So having some kind of coping process to insert positivity in your life can help you get over that rejection, and it can help you do so more quickly. And that takes me to my next little tip, which the CEO of Essence magazine talked about this recently on Instagram, and I will try and link that video as well. But she was talking about how she does not consider a bad day unless she's had 6 fails. Then it gets to be a bad day. Before that, it's not a bad day. And so what that did for her is it made her bounce back quicker, because the first one, it doesn't faze her. The second one, oh well, we're only at 2. The third one, we're just at 3. By the time you hit 5 bad things, the day's over, you know? So it didn't even get to the 6th one. And so by then you build this kind of resistance to rejection really getting to you, you know? And so that could apply to rejection or anything negative happening. But when she said that, I was like, oh, I am doing that. One of you guys told me I should try doing my lash curler before I put my mascara on, so I'm gonna try that real quick. But going back to life not being a meritocracy, like I talked about before, a lot of times the people who are successful and achieve the things that we're trying to achieve, the only thing they have over someone who didn't is that their bounce back is better. Their bounce back is quicker, you know? Because being in the position I'm in, I see the people who are ahead of me and I see the people who are not yet where I am. And a lot of the times it's literally just, you didn't get back up, you know? And that's honestly sad to watch. It's sad to watch, and sometimes as someone who wants to see everybody, like I genuinely want to see everybody win. I love seeing people work on their stuff. It can be the worst feeling to just watch someone let their own mental spiral them out of their dreams. We don't have time for that. We have things to accomplish. And in that process, rejection is going to be up in there, you know? It's going to be all up and through there. And at some point, you are also going to have to do the rejecting. And I think just the work that I've been doing on myself has, and the experiences that I've had with rejection have framed how I dish out that rejection to other people. Because, and this is the next thing that rejection teaches you, is that you can say no too. A lot of times when we are pursuing something, we're like, oh my gosh, I hope they pick me. I hope I'm the right fit for this. But after a point, things are gonna start being brought to you. And getting rejected reminds you, oh yeah, I can say no. I don't have to do this. Because when I was trying to do things, I got rejected a lot too, and that's just a part of life. And that was something I had to remind myself was like, hey, your no is just as important as anybody else's, especially if you're someone who is trying to do something with the most integrity that you can, when your intentions are good, but when you also are very clear on what your values are, what you are and aren't willing to accept or deal with, that means that you also have to be able to dish out some no's as well. And receiving the rejections honestly reminded me of that. I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to do every single thing that someone asked me to do. And it's important to realize that our no's are just as valuable as anyone else's. And sometimes rejection just has to remind you of that. I think also in line with that, it's important to, or at least it's been important for me to let rejection shape the person that I become in a very intentional way. I have seen, and I'm telling y'all for real, this entertainment industry is ruthless and it treats people so horrible. And I've seen how those rejections have made other people so bitter, to the point where it hurts. Like, it hurts watching someone become that way because I know that they weren't before. And even though I may not know them personally, but you start to see over time, and I definitely have, like how when you don't have coping mechanisms, when you don't let the rejection, fuel your next step versus letting it deplete you, I've seen how it really just can turn people into people that I don't think they ever intended to be. And I think it's important to realize that as a dancer too. Like, a lot of the times, the people that you're coming in contact with, even if it's just people who work in production, the level of stress that they're under and the amount of rejection that they deal with, it makes them a certain way on set. And all of that can affect you as a performer. It can affect you as a dancer. And I think it just comes down to like realizing that people are just people, People are just people trying to make sense of the stuff that's happening to them. And again, that can help you not take those rejection moments so harsh, so personally. Because I used to take things, and still sometimes I do. Still sometimes I have to be like, hey, you're being very egocentric right now with how you're dealing with this, and chances are it ain't even about you.
But that's why I'm doing it. Sometimes just a one overall shadow color is all you need just to look, put together without feeling like you have to do too much.
I think something else that is important to remember when it comes to rejection is that if you're getting rejection, especially if you're getting a bunch of rejections back to back, that means that you're trying a bunch of times back to back, And a lot of times the worst part about the rejection can be the embarrassment, the having to go back and tell your family oh, this relationship didn't work out, or oh, I didn't end up getting that job, or oh, I didn't get the apartment I thought I was gonna get. That can honestly be the worst part, is the shame associated with it. But honestly, a lot of people will have something to say about your failures or your rejections. They ain't even doing half of what you're doing, What is the lotto said? A lot of people's talking on me who ain't done. And it's true. They be the first ones to say something. Because they're playing it safe and you're out here going for your dreams. And sometimes other people, that can stir up something in them. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they are genuinely ignorant of what it takes to go and do the things that you're doing. Or they're ignorant of the kind of relationship you want, or they're ignorant of the kind of work environment that you want. And so they have no concept of what you're actually going for. So to them, it's well, why didn't you take it? Why didn't you do that? Why did you try and go for that? You should have gone for this. It's you don't even know what I want. That would have been a setup. That would have been probably the worst possible thing for me, or that would have set me back 10 steps, or that would have completely messed up my value system, And so those moments are important too, because it helps you understand, like, what do I actually want? I have to remember to ask myself that sometimes, because sometimes we can be doing a whole lot, you know, and the rejection makes you stop. Sometimes you're doing too much, you know? I'm definitely a culprit of doing too much. But sometimes the rejection is God's way or your ancestors' way of being like, I'm just gonna deal you this no with love. And trust that you, through your experiences, are becoming wise enough to realize what I'm trying to show you, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest gifts from rejection is wisdom. I have been in situations where I have literally had to ask myself, Gaylyn, what is the wisest way to respond to this? Because in that moment, I can choose to respond as the old me, or I can choose to respond as my higher self. My higher self that has accumulated wisdom from all these dang rejections. You gonna go through all these rejections and not learn nothing? No. And sometimes that means taking a step back for a second and just letting myself do all the things I need to do to get myself in a positive place first, and then respond to that rejection in a way that honestly will make me proud of how I handled it. I mean, I guess for the most part, my hair is done. Is this parting? Let's put some concealer. Let's put some concealer on this part. I'm really enjoying this little Amazon wig. I dance in this thing. It washes really well. I will link it for you guys if you want it. I think I wanna do like a U-part wig or something, that like a afro kinky curly situation. I want it to look like my hair texture, and right now I'm only finding ones that have like a larger loopier curl, you know, and my hair don't look like that. I want kinks, you know, I want kinks. When I want straight, I want straight, and when I want kinks, I want kinks. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so this is the dress, and then I'm gonna wear my nude bar undergarments on top because it's a mesh, or excuse me, underneath because it's a mesh dress. But I don't know if I want to do the skin toned pieces or the darker ones. These are the shoes. I feel like they are gonna give it more like of an upscale look to the dress. And then I'm gonna wear these earrings as well. I might not get the shoes in it, but this is what we're giving for birthday. Yes. Is it cute? I think it's cute. Oh wait, fix the sleeves. These sleeves are so cute though. They're like little dangly sleeves. I like, right? Isn't it giving body yaddy yaddy? I think I do like the darker stuff underneath because then it's giving Gucci, but not, you know. I'm not sure what bag I'm gonna wear, but I'll figure it out later. I still have like 30 minutes before I have to be there. And that is it, you guys. Those are my thoughts on rejection. Ultimately, it's for you. It's for me. Every single rejection that has happened has helped me become the version of myself I am now. And everyone that comes after that will help me become my higher self, the version of me that I am supposed to be. And as long as I keep my eyes on that, as long as I focus on that, I don't let the rejections get me down. So hopefully this video helped you feel better if you are going through some rejections. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well. As you guys know, these are girl talks, so let's talk, you feel me? And if you haven't already, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because that does let me know that you guys want more of these videos. I will see you guys in my next video next weekend. Later.